Welcome back to Tidbit Tuesdays. Last week we talked about answering tough questions that might come up as a result of your social or political activism, and how the acknowledge, respond, and redirect model can help de-escalate what might otherwise be really heated moments and strive for more constructive conversations. If you missed last week's tidbit, I'd strongly recommend going back and watching it. This week we're going to build off that training. And we're going to talk about a handful of tips that I found to be really useful about making these conversations as successful as possible. Piece of advice number 1, set boundaries. Remember, you don't ever owe someone an answer at any given moment. These conversations should be happening on your terms. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're overwhelmed and you feel under attack, feel free to tap out. That is a-okay. And in fact, it's important for self-care and self-protection. Now, there's a fine line between self-care and wanting to step just outside our comfort zones in ways that are healthy and good for growth. And I will be the first to admit that I am not perfect at balancing these two seeming contradictions. But I simply flag it here at the beginning as a point of consideration for you to think ahead of time about where your boundaries are and sticking to them. Piece of advice number 2, be aware of tripwires. Tripwires are terms that when we use them, they tend to make the person we're talking to shut down and either fight back or completely disengage from the conversation. Think of terms like racist or communist. Now, let me be clear. There are going to be times where these terms might be accurate. And if your goal is to call someone out, especially if you don't expect a very elaborate back and forth, then resorting to a tripwire term may be your preferred tactic. But just be aware, if your goal is to have a more thoughtful back and forth discussion with someone, these tripwire terms may make that more difficult to accomplish. Advice number 3, it's okay to say, I don't know. I've talked to a lot of military family members who are hesitant to get involved in issues where they don't feel like they're an expert in it. And maybe that's you. Maybe you're hesitant because you're afraid someone might ask you a question you don't know the answer to. And I'm here to tell you that that's okay. It is okay to say, I don't know, and then do a quick internet search and try to find an answer. Or reach out to us at SFI. We'd love to help you track down some answers. Being transparent about the limits of your knowledge not only make you more relatable to the person you're talking to, but it helps them be more confident in the things you do know because they know that you're not trying to bluff around them. Advice number 4, assume that people come from a place of fear. This is almost always going to be the case, especially when we talk about the issues that we focus on at SFI, like foreign policy and national security. Those are such high-stake issues that cut at the core of what it means to feel safe and secure. So it's no wonder that people are going to express a lot of fear. What's important for you is to acknowledge that fear and push past what might look like hostility and look for the kernels of genuine curiosity that you can engage with someone on. Advice number 5, your strongest response is your story. Stories are almost always more persuasive and harder to combat than facts and data, unfortunately. And again, this is especially true for foreign policy, which is an issue area that most people see as being really far away and wonky. As military families, our lived experiences can be really helpful in translating foreign policy into something that's relatable and understandable. If you want more help with the art of storytelling, I definitely recommend joining one of our public narrative trainings. We offer both a model and the opportunity to practice. And to close, Leo and I just want to say, remember, we all have more in common than what divides us, whether it's a love of dogs or something else. So look for what you might have in common with someone you're talking to. That might help break the ice. Leo and I just want to say, have a good week, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.